Bro, honest, Pano, you look like Axl Rose, bro.
I know, fuck. I get that all the time.
Like Axl Rose.
You should just grow your hair a bit long, bro.
He doesn't want to look like Axl Rose, bro.
No, bro. Fuck, bro.
Maybe if it was 87, maybe. You know?
Walk around in boxers, bro. Walk into work in your boxers and a tight t-shirt. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Just Us Dads. Thank you so much for tuning in to another Dadversation. We do appreciate it. And if this is the first time we meet, head on over to YouTube, subscribe and like. Follow us on all social media platforms as well as audio platforms as well. George is at work at the present moment. He can't be with us, so we do have our regular guest that enjoys filling in. Panos is here with us, and so is Chris. Gentlemen, how are you? That's your cue, Panos. You can.
Oh, hold on, guys. Yeah, sorry, guys. I'm a little rusty. I'm outstanding. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking, George.
It's good to see you. Last time you were on the episode. You were telling us about the Carnivore Diet. You look great. You look fantastic. Are you still on that?
Yes, sir. Just finished having 20-ouncer. Was beautiful. Was good.
Because we were wondering, and for the people listening, like as soon as a couple of days after we aired that episode, you sent us a picture of your blood work, of your test results, and you had what was it? It was your uric acid or urea that was high.
A little bit of urea, yeah, and I had high LDL, obviously, with all the cholesterol, but I'm feeling good.
It's funny because we had a little meeting yesterday, and George was wondering, is Panos still doing that diet with those results, those blood results? I'm like, I don't know. We'll ask him.
Yeah, I've been at it. Had a couple of cheat days here and there, and I'll be honest with you, it didn't feel too good. Actually, when was it? Valentine's Day. I had some cake with my wife. It made me feel like shit, and regretted it like instantly. Like I ate it. I think like 30 seconds later, I was like, oh God, this is gonna be a long night. I felt like shit.
Did it want to come out 60 seconds later?
Oh my God, dude, it was horrible. And that's it. No, I'm back on it. I've been doing it since August 4th. I still haven't had alcohol, guys. Like not even a sip.
Like Christmas, New Year's, nothing. Valentine's,
nothing, guys. Zero.
Let me ask you something. Pano, do you hate happiness?
Actually, you know what, guys? I don't know, man. It's like we're living through times now that, you know what? Who are you going to drink with? You're going to come home and just drink by yourself? I don't know. I don't miss it at all. I don't crave sugar at all. It's a little bit weird to say, but I don't crave it. And when I have it, I feel like shit. But I crave steak. I crave meat. I just want to eat meat all the time.
Well, look, you do have a point in the sense that we're less social now, right? For a year almost. So we don't go out. You don't have that temptation to let's go out with a couple friends and you get a drink and all that stuff. So he's right. I mean, it's very rare that first of all, I don't drink that much to begin with, but to come home and to think, let me pour myself a drink. Yeah, that doesn't really happen. Like I need company to have a drink.
It's not everyone though. A lot of people drink not to be lonely. Right?
Absolutely, like
or
we're not in that category. But it's I'm with you there. I don't come home and say, okay, let's pour a glass of wine or a scotch.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. I've done it for 4 years, 4.5 years. I think I did it. No alcohol.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty good.
So I understand where you're going, but I've also had like a bottle in a day.
Well, look, you know what? There's something
it's big extremes.
Big, like, yeah. You know what? I also tried to cut coffee. That was very fucking hard, guys. Like that was like I did it for like about 2 weeks, I was like buzzing. Like it was so tough, so hard.
You guys
I was
are
in a
big coffee drinkers. Like Chris too, you drink a lot of coffee. I'm not that big on coffee. Like honestly, coffee too. It's the same like alcohol. If I don't have anyone over to drink coffee with, or like I don't have the urge to have coffee. And I can remember who I was talking to about this, and they were freaking out. They're like, "What do you mean? You wake up in the morning and you don't make coffee?" I'm like, "No, like at all. Like there's no
I could go either way. I can have 8 coffees in a day, or I can have none for 3 days in a row, nothing.
Yeah.
It depends on my moods. But the carnivore diet is good, man. You kept it. I remember I did it. I had great results, and I got worried about my cholesterol, so I stopped the carnivore diet and gained 25 pounds back.
Well, look, dude. I don't know. I might be a walking heart attack. I don't know, man. But I just feel good, guys. I can't explain it. I don't know what it is. Like
I know.
I'm scheduled to do another blood test. We'll see. The doctor wants to put me on statins. I'm like, no. So
what?
Statins. He wants me to get medication for the cholesterol. And I told him no. I said, this is what I'm doing. Is this okay? Let's just check it out. But it's my cholesterol is like my bad cholesterol is double my good cholesterol. So that's a good ratio. I don't have triglycerides. I don't have high blood pressure. I don't have anything else. So I don't know.
That's what got me worried, Pano, too, because I know exactly what you're saying. I can echo everything you're saying. I felt great. My skin felt good. I felt lean. I only craved my meat. And I got the best results I've ever had. My skin looked better, right? I slept better. I ate meat 2 to 3 times a day for a month and a half, almost 2 months. No medication, didn't get gout. And you know what? I got a gout attack like 3 weeks ago. It's weird. It's just
but that's what I'm. See, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, you see, like you have all that good, but we fear the cholesterol. Which...
Yeah. You fear it, man, because that's what the general scientific consensus is. Be afraid of cholesterol, especially the bad one. The good one, you wanted to bring it high, but you can bring it up with exercise. But the bad one is just what you eat.
I'm reading a lot of like the bad one. LDL acts like a bus in your system, right? So if you have also elevated HDL, which is the good one, all that LDL is going to do is just transport it. So if you have other issues, it's a big. You gotta be careful, because you have now a bus that's going to transport it. I'm not reading. I'm reading. I don't know, man.
I get you, man. I get you. I understand what you look. I read the Sean Baker's, the Dr. Berry's, the Paul Saladino. Yeah. Is that it? Yeah. I understand. It's almost going against the current, these guys, and they make sense in what they're saying. But you're right. It's like whatever we've been fed, we fear it. And that's what got me out of it. And my wife is telling me, why don't you go back on it? Because she's the reminder. She's like, hey, you felt good, right? Because she was the observer. Like I would go through it, but she observed me.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah.
But Panos, last time, because you were on, and I think you were like at the beginning, or it was just a couple of months that you were doing it, and the whole idea was for you to kind of cleanse and then start slowly introducing other elements in your diet to see how your body would react, and if whether you incorporate it or ditch it entirely. Did you start that at all? Did you start putting any, I don't know, salads or anything else like potatoes? Or
no,
it's just meat.
No, just me, dude. Just
you know what?
Honestly, I don't want to. Like how Chris is talking about, like he doesn't want to risk it. Cholesterol, and like I don't want to risk. I'm the opposite. I don't want to risk eating. Like I just ate a cake, guys, and I felt like shit. I just don't want to risk it, and then my colitis comes back, and I get a flare, and I'm like, fuck. I don't want to start from scratch again. You know what I mean? So I'm just at this point. I'm just listening to my body. My body's saying you're feeling good. Obviously with colitis, it's a little bit like you gotta also make sure that you can't go by feel. You got to get scoped to see what's going on inside. So eventually I am going to schedule another colonoscopy, but look, I mean, so far so good.
Yeah, that's the paradox, man. That's the paradox of that diet. And that's why it's controversial, because with everything you're doing, you shouldn't be feeling good. You should be getting fatter and more lethargic. Yet it's ancestral. So people have linked it to what we used to eat. Exactly. So it kind of makes sense. So, but it's just so weird. But I'm with you there on the feelings, on how you feel and all that stuff. I went through it, and it's exactly what you're saying. And that's what's making me go back. But then, I did my blood work. It was high cholesterol. I'd done it before because it's very close to keto, right? And I had done a sort of like carnivore diet close to keto with very, very low carbs. And my cholesterol was very high. And then I did the carnivore diet, and then I did a blood test right after. And again, the cholesterol. So my doctor was like, he has this little app. He put in some numbers. He's like, your uncle died from a heart attack. Your numbers are here. So he gave me my percentage, like for heart attack risk, but it was very, very low. But I'm obese, right? So it's like you could play with it a little bit more. I think I find it scared me a little bit. It scared me a little bit when even though the percentage was low for risk of heart attack, but it was like, hey man, what a way, it's like you're trying to be healthier. It's what if, and I'm with you. I know the science is divided, like with everything. Like we've said this many times on the podcast, science is divided in a lot of ways with a lot of different subjects and topics. And this is one of those. But the guys are like advocating for it, men are really like convinced.
Dude, it's
and they could persuade you. They could influence you to do it. And that's how I did it. And I'm telling you, it's weird because I want to go back to it. It was the best feeling I've had.
And I tell people, just try it for 30 days to see how you feel, and look, I don't want to, like, when people ask me, what do you do? I don't even want to, like, I don't even tell people, I see you eat a lot of meat and you do this. Tell me a little bit about your diet. And like, I try to avoid it because every time I try to have a conversation, people look at me like, the fuck is wrong with you? You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? What's wrong with you? You're going to die. You're this, you're that. So I just try to avoid it. Like many people have called me and said, what are you doing, man? Like, what are you just eating all meat? That's all you're doing? Yeah, I just eat all meat, but look, I mean, I'm trying it. It's good. I don't know how longer I'm going to do this, but whatever, man. We'll see. Yeah. I'll keep you guys posted.
And I don't want to reiterate because we've been through this, but the only downside, like the only, let's say, negative effect, I guess, was the explosive diarrhea.
I'm long gone. I don't have that anymore. Actually, you know what?
Dude, it was crazy.
I don't poop much. I'll be honest with you.
Okay.
I don't poop much because obviously you're not eating fiber, right? There's not much fiber, so you just have small poops, man. Like
at the beginning,
and I wasn't used to that.
At the beginning, I was afraid to take deep breaths.
Yeah.
You just have to be careful. You
don't burp. Like you can't burp. You can't yawn.
No sudden movements. No sudden movements.
No sudden movements.
You just don't know. You just don't know what could end up.
Yeah. 100%.
But that left after I think 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, I think you go through an adaptation period.
Yeah. The fight.
I also I got a bad keto rash. That sucked.
A keto rash?
Yeah, it's a keto. I didn't even know, dude. I just got this rash out of nowhere. I started freaking out, and then I looked it up. It's a keto rash. So when you're on keto, your body like transitions, goes through some, I don't know what the fuck it was,
ketosis.
And I just had like a rash on like my arms and my legs. I was like freaking out, and then I looked it up, and apparently it's a keto rash. It went away, and that was it.
Yeah.
But
because your carbs are almost zero.
You're not eating carbs. Zero carbs. Zero carbs. Zero carbs. And so it is keto. It's just a stricter way. It's way stricter. Yeah, it's way stricter.
So what? And that causes skin irritation.
I don't know. I guess it's the way your body's transitioning. It's trying to figure shit out. It's not maybe used to being on ketosis all the time. So I don't know. It freaks out by giving you a rash. So I guess that's what it is. I don't know. I wasn't really too worried about it. It just itched for a couple of days and then it just went away.
Well, look, man, the good news is that you're looking great. Much
Thank you, buddy.
So obviously something seems to be working. I saw that your brother's losing weight too. Is he doing the same thing or is he following like a more traditional route?
No, he thinks I'm nuts. So he's just doing more traditional.
Fruits and vegetables, right?
Fruits and vegetables, exactly.
But that's good though. I mean, because when you do that, I mean, it kind of gets you to learn how to discipline yourself, right? Where you need to watch what you eat. Obviously, you watch what you eat as well. But if you're following a more traditional route where there's more training and physical activity involved, it's not a bad thing. I mean, and this is the biggest problem that we have, right? I was training almost consistently up until mid-November, end of November, where my shoulder came out. I got injured, and then it just stopped. I still haven't. So I'm every week I'm like, okay, I got to pick it up again. I got to pick it up again. But it's just so difficult to put yourself in that consistency, right? So I mean, if the kid is doing it, good for him. Fuck, I don't know. I mean, it's my biggest challenge just to do it. To say that every day at between that time and that time, it's training. Or like 8 to 9 or 7, whatever. I don't know. I know that you wake up in the morning and you train, and it's the hardest thing for me. It's the hardest thing for me. And we've had this conversation with Chris so many times. We've achieved so many things. We've accomplished all these things, and the one thing that we just can't seem to just get through our head is train. Dude, from 7 to 8, train. That's it. That's what you're doing, and it's just so difficult. I don't know why we just fail at it.
When I started training, actually, it's been a couple of months now with my wife. So we actually wake up together and we train. So there's some days that you don't feel like it. She motivates you, and then some days,
like train or train.
Yeah, we train. Like I have a workout. I use
What's the difference between train or train?
Dude, that counts as
there's training and there's training.
Okay.
Training. No, but that counts, dude. You get that heart rate up, so it counts as training. That so it's just not going to be maybe a 30-minute workout. It might be quicker, but hey, it is what it is. So we motivate each other, and look, it's fun. It's something that we do together, and
how does that work with the kids? Tell me, because the kids wake up at what time now for school and all that stuff?
So they'll wake up at about 6:20. So if you wake up at 5, we wake up at 5. We get a workout in, and that's it. Yeah, you got to wake up early, man. I told you this, George. I've told you this 100 times. You got to beat the sun, buddy. That's your problem. You're not beating the sun. Beat the sun. Start the day with a win, my friend.
Can't do it.
No, you can't do it. You could. You just.
There's nothing you can't do. Yes, you could, but the truth is,
it's because it's not you can't do it. It's you don't want to do it.
I don't want to. I enjoy my sleep like thoroughly.
Okay, there you go.
I gotta I enjoy it.
There, you got your answer, George. There you go.
There you go. Keep sleeping.
Yeah. But that doesn't tire you for the rest of your day. Like you wake up at 5, I guess, in the morning to train. You get the kids ready, and then you're off to work. By the time you close up all the stores and come back, aren't you shot?
No, listen to it. It hits me at about, let's see now. What is that? In about half an hour, it's going to hit me. I'll get tired. But actually, as a matter of fact, when I don't work out, I feel more tired.
Right.
When you work out, I don't know. I guess you got to hit a dopamine and you're up and running. Like, I mean, I function well when I train in the morning.
Yeah, this is not a secret, guys. Like
that honestly has worked for me too. Because at night it doesn't work.
I can't work out at night. Forget me. Like I can't. There's no way. Like if I miss a workout in the morning, there's no way I'm going to do that workout at night. There's no way.
And your wife with that schedule, she's fine there. Like it's consistent. 5 o'clock, boom, she's up, and you guys are.
Yeah, she's up. Look, we have it's not rosy when we wake up and it's let's go. Like, I mean, there's some days she's dragging her feet. I'm dragging my feet. I don't feel like it. She doesn't, but it's good when you do it together. At least one will motivate you to say, okay. And then you know how it is. As soon as you start lifting that weight or you start doing the first 3 exercises, you're good, man. It's over. You're there.
That you see, that's the formula. It's simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. You have to do it even when you don't feel like doing it.
Yeah.
You got to do it even when you don't feel like it. That's it.
And always, look, if we could take something positive out of the corona, I personally could say that with this whole pandemic, I'm in the best shape of my life that I've been. I'm not in my life, but that I've been in a while. You know what I mean? So I'm at my weight that I was back in university in the good old days, right?
Yeah.
So I feel good, man. I feel good, but it's like I said, it's you just got, listen, this is the problem. The problem is that why is it a diet? There's the word die inside. You can't have whatever you do in life. It's got to be part of your life. It's got to be lifestyle, right? So if you're going to do something and you're going to do it for 30 days, dude, don't fucking do it because you're going to go back to the old routine anyway. You know what I mean? So just whatever you do, it's got to be part of your life, and you gotta,
Yeah, you have to integrate it in your daily routine. And I've
Absolutely.
given this example many times. Like the same way that you wake up in the morning, and there's no way in hell that you can leave the house without brushing your teeth or putting on deodorant, for example.
That's right.
Like you can't. Like if I wake up, first of all, there's no way that I can. It's almost automatic. You wake up, you go to the bathroom, and you're right there. You brush your teeth. You put like it's become like a staple. You know, it's like you have to do it. That's how I always wished that training would become for me, because there are people that we know that do that, right? I mean, it's like if they don't get their training in, there's something unnatural that happens, like they have to. It's like an impossibility that they go on throughout their day without training. And I have tried to get that incorporated in my life, and I've just failed consistently. So it's just it's
hard, man. I did it too. I was training with Nick and my wife. We would go to Nick's 3 times. Sorry, 3 times a week. Sorry about that. And we did it for a long time. So 3 times a week consistently, sometimes on the weekends as well. And it felt so good. Good results. That's when I lost a lot of weight, eating right. And it was with my wife. So it was like, hey, no excuse, 5 o'clock, 5:30, we got to be there. So it was in the calendar. It was in the agenda. The problem is the second you stop, man, you stop. And let's say you stop and you stop for a long time. It's like, oh man, to build that momentum again.
Yeah,
that's why you just got to stay. It's easier to stay and maintain than it is to start all over again. And that's my problem. The stopping, doing, stopping, doing, stopping, doing. Like now it's like, again, like I started again, and then you have to just implement it and stick with it, because it's very hard to start over again.
Yeah.
But
So
you know what, guys? You should look at this program called 75 Hard.
Which one was
7 hard? HARD.
Yeah, 75 Hard. It's this guy. I follow him. He's awesome. By the way,
you've been trying to do but that's extreme though, Panos.
I know, but you know what, George? The thing is with extreme, if you want to accomplish something like this and you want to be able to get into that routine, you need to look at something extreme. Like, I mean, look, if you
for everyone watching or listening, explain what that is.
So
because wait, Panos, before you explain, because it sounded like you're advertising something for Viagra. When you said 75 and hard,
75 hard.
So 75 Hard is a gentleman. His name is Andy Frisella. He's a CEO of a supplement company called First Form. So I had started following him when I had gone to Grant Cardone's convention in Miami, the first one he ever did, and he was one of the guest speakers. And I absolutely fell in love with this guy. He was raw. He was authentic. And he didn't try to sell you a bunch of crap, right? So he basically poured knowledge into people, but really, like all these guys that were guest speakers at Grant Cardone's event had something to sell. So they would give you a little bit of content and then would just push product on you, right?
Yeah,
upsell. But this guy didn't. This guy was just raw, authentic. I just loved the way he spoke. So I ended up following him. So he came out with this program called 75 Hard, and it's exactly for what you're saying, George. It's to create discipline and consistently to be consistent in your life. So basically, what it is for 75 days, you got to do a couple of things. Now, if you fail to do any of these things, you got to go back to day one.
Start over, yeah.
So you got to do this for 75 consecutive days, which is what? Which is one workout, 45 minutes. Workout of your choice, okay? Indoor, and one workout outdoor. So 2 workouts a day, 1 indoor, 1 outdoor. Now it could be weight training in the morning or walking at night for 45 minutes. Okay.
Is there a reason for that, or is it just for variety?
It's just how the program is. Okay. Now it's not necessarily a lose weight program. It's really to build mental toughness. Okay. The other thing is you got to read 10 pages of a non-fictional book every day. Yeah. You got to drink 1 gallon of water. You got to take a progress pic every day. And there's another one. Hold on. I'm missing one. Oh, and you got to follow a diet of your choice, any diet. You can't cheat. You can't have fucking cookies. You can't have chips. You can't drink, no alcohol. And you got to do that for 75 days.
But back to George's point, that's what it is, man. Like a lot of look, this new notion right now of dieting and regimens and all that is based on the premise of it has to be sustainable, right? That's what they've analyzed and seen, right? It's like, if the diet is not, or the regimen is not sustainable, you're not going to be able to implement it in your life. You won't make any drastic life changes, and then you won't adapt it to your lifestyle, right? So 75 days for a lot. Look, man, some people, sometimes it's hard to do 5 days.
No, yeah.
75 days is something. 75 days takes a lot of willpower, right? A lot of why power. It takes a lot of planning. Just to be free for 75 days to do all that, you know?
But that's the thing, Chris.
It's not just doing it for 75 days. It's also the idea that if you fail, you're starting over.
And look, people that finish this program, guys, there's not many that do, but people that finish this program, dude, they rave about it. Not only the results that you're going to get physically, but also mental, how stronger you become, right?
Yeah,
and
no doubt.
How you say you're going to do something and you end up doing it. And he wrote a book about it. I believe it's called 75 Hard. But like it's amazing. Now I'll tell you how hard this program is. That's why it's called hard. There's athletes like marathon runners, triathletes, people that have done Ironman that fail doing this, because it's not only the physical aspect. It's also the I got to drink a gallon of water. It sounds easy, but dude, try to drink a gallon of water every single day. It's not easy, and you forget. Right. And then you got to drink your gallon of water at 9 o'clock at night. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's
not that it's hard. It's just that you need to break it down throughout your day. Right. And
that's right.
The diet is the hardest. The diet is the hardest.
I don't know if the diet is the hardest, Chris. I think the training day.
No, not for me.
75 days, no cheat day. You crazy.
Dude, I've been no, for me right now, the hardest thing would be the 2 workouts, one being outside. That's for me the hardest.
Well, yeah, the outside workout. Yeah.
And by the way, it's like, it's a shitty day. You got to go do it outside. Like, even if it's minus 50, you got to go outside and do the workout. Like, unless there's a fucking tornado. But I mean, I'm just like you got to go outside and get it done. So it's tough. Like, I did it for the max. I did it was 8 days. And then something happened. One of my kids was sick. I couldn't go outside. And I just I missed it. And I'm like, fuck it. I'm not going to restart this. Let's just whatever. But eventually, I'm hoping I could get this done. I would love to do it.
Because I assume that what that teaches you and what that kind of ingrains in you is the fact that you need to prioritize, right? So you're saying, so you got to tell yourself, whatever happens, this 45 minutes is my time, no matter what. Right. That's it. You know what I mean? And I have to do it in the morning or at night or however you want to divide that in your day. It's
a 45-minute workout outdoors plus a 45-minute workout indoors.
Yeah, exactly. And you got to split it. You can't do it back to back. So it's got to be like, you do it. Let's say, for example, in the morning, you'll do your workout. But
very hard.
It's very difficult.
You know what?
So you can't, for example, wake up in the morning, go for a walk, 45 minutes, come back home and do your training.
Look, I'm guessing you can't do that. I mean, it's not the end of the. Yeah, like you could just walk. Like I told, my plan was work out in the morning, just do a workout, just whatever. I have an app, it gives me a workout. I'll do my workout 45 minutes. It's cool. And then at night, I would walk. But the problem is that at night you're ripped. So then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna walk. I'm at work. I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna take my lunch break, and I'm just gonna go walk. Right? Just take 45 minutes and just go walk, and then come back. Well, you get busy at work, you can't really take that time. So it was hard, right? So I don't know. I just gotta I think you gotta get into it with a plan.
It's a very strict program, right? Very stringent. But you know what? Even a little alteration to the program is going to give you good results. The way it sounds, the way you're saying it, let's say it's 75 days and you fail halfway, you're still going to get results.
Yeah.
You know, that's how
you're
hard
right.
This thing sounds.
You're right. But imagine you alter it the way you want it, and then you finish your 75 days. I don't think you're going to feel accomplished. That's what I feel. Me, personally, Panos.
Yeah.
No, that's not what I mean. Like, in my mind, I'm going to be like, fuck, I didn't really do it. I cheated
because the program says 75 days. So
that's what it is. You do it. You're not part of that. And dude, there's a whole movement on this. There's a whole, because it's men and women that have did this. It's like you're part of a club once you finish this. It's like a whole.
Let's do Just Us Dads 75 hard, man. Let's do it.
No fucking way we're doing this, bro.
Let's do it. Let's try it.
Listen, you know what? If I could get a couple of guys and we all do this together, like you need accountability. One motivating the other, it's required, man.
Guys, I got it. Well, Carl, we could invite Carl, but he lost a lot of weight, this guy.
He lost a lot of weight, yeah.
This guy doesn't need to lose. And you don't need to lose either, man. But
it's not a matter of losing. It's just
about accomplishment. It's just knowing that
that's right.
You set your mind at it and you did it. Look, I'm not an expert, man. I'm far from being an expert when it comes to training or fitness. But the way that I would do it, if I were to do it, I think it comes down to prioritizing. So you just have to break down your day. This 45 minutes I'm busy. I need 3 gallons a day. Okay, let's break that down. What does that come out?
It's not prioritizing.
1 gallon, sorry.
It's not prioritizing. This will test your whole being. This is willpower. This is your fuel is on empty and you still got to do it.
I'm just curious. Does this guy have
This guy was 300 pounds, guys. And he listen, he had a supplement. He started with a supplement store, and then like his story is amazing. But the guy was selling supplements. He was like 300 pounds. You know what I mean? So he wanted to obviously change his image. This guy almost died. He got stabbed in the face. Like his story is really, really interesting. Look him up. Andy Frisella. The guy, I'm telling you.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I listened to his podcast. He's
was he a speaker at the Cardone, the 10X?
Yeah. He was on the first one I went. Yeah. Now he doesn't do any more speaking gigs. He's like so anti-speaking gigs because he finds that a lot of people are bullshit out there and they're just there to really sell stuff to you and not really help you.
Well, yeah, there's a few guys that have really like put a stigma on this industry. You know, it's a good industry. It just it was overdone, and a lot of people went in there and ruined the name because it's a good industry. So. But anyway, so March 1st, guys.
No,
us three. We get your George. We get your brother.
Well, yeah, my brother. No, but and the hard thing now is, and of course, look, you can sit and find excuses if you want to, but with a curfew, what are you gonna do? You know, you're gonna put your kids to bed at 7:30. You don't even have time to go out and walk.
Don't get us started on the curfew, George.
Curfew.
Stop poking. Stop poking.
Guys. I have a question. They just announced that they're opening the movie theaters, right?
I'm not sure if they're gonna open though. Yeah,
but no popcorn, no food.
Well, no, look, this is what happened. So they want during the March break, and I'm assuming that if they're opening them now, it's so they can keep them open. Like it doesn't make sense for them to open for 1 week and then close them up again. So for them, it's kind of like the introduction of having them open. So the thing is this. They want to reopen the movie theaters, obviously with the different measures like masks and a limited number of people that have access to the movie theater, which is so that they can respect the social distancing measures. So the curfew still stands at 8, which means that these cinemas need to show maximum until 7:30 or 7 or whatever the time in order to allow the people the time to get back home. And no concession stands, so no food, no drinks, none of that stuff. So you had the Guzzo that came out, and he's like, "There's no way that we can even be profitable. So even if you allow us to open, I don't think I will, because he's fine. I mean, he's a big chain. He has the matinees. He can have theaters during the day, but a lot of the movie theaters don't. They open up at 6:30. They get the 7 o'clock show and then the 9 o'clock show, and then they close, right? And a lot of them they depend so much on the popcorn and the drinks because, I mean, you pay $15.
That's where the profit is.
Of course. Yeah. Like you're paying a $15 ticket to go watch a movie and you're paying double that to get a popcorn and a Coke. You know what I mean? So,
well, yeah, the rest is expenses.
Exactly. Yeah. So they're not so sure if it's profitable. So I think today they were supposed to have a meeting. I don't know. Look up to see what happened. But
you see, they say things, then you think about them. It's like, let's say things and then think about them.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that don't make sense.
Don't poke the bear, George. I don't want to talk about this, man. It's like
no. It's not about poking bear. I just brought it up because it's something. I mean, what you're gonna do and what when are you gonna go out to walk? Let's say you want to walk. You know what I mean? So you're gonna have to reorganize your whole day. You're working until 5, 6. Let's say by the time you come home, dinner, kids, like forget it. You're done. You can't go out. So it becomes very difficult at this time.
George, winners figure it out, buddy. You figure it out. Just gotta fucking figure it out, dude. So go fucking walk at noon. Why do you gotta walk at like 8? Go walk at noon.
I'm just saying that the easiest solution would be to come back home, do what you have to do, and then, like you said, go out in the evening or at night, have your walk, and come back home. And then
or why don't you walk in the morning and have a workout at night? Do that too. At home.
Yeah.
You gotta figure it out, dude. Look, you know what? You know what? Just going back to that, I'm poking the bear again. So that means that if they decide to give popcorn, right?
Yeah.
So then, like, forget about it. The restaurateurs are going to lose their mind.
Of course. Yeah. I was having that conversation with my wife. She goes, that doesn't make sense. If they allow the movie theaters to offer food, that would totally suck for the restaurateurs who can't have people in their premises and give.
Guys, the reason they're even debating this thing with the theaters is because Guzzo, the owner, was very vocal about this.
Very, very
vocal for the whole year. But they've given. Look, they haven't paid much attention to him, because if he was that vocal and if he was that influential, they would have done something way before. They're just doing it now because they want to accommodate the families and the kids during March break, which, by the way, I happen to disagree with. If you want to control this, postpone March break like they're doing in Ontario. They're not having March break in March. They're having their March break in April, because they want to make sure that they contain it as much as possible now. So we're doing the opposite. We're doing the March break, and then you're saying that you want to contain it, but you're opening up arenas, you're opening up pools, you're opening up cinemas. You're allowing people during March break to go and rent chalets or stay in hotels or whatever. I'm not so sure these are the right steps to take. But to go back to Guzzo, he's been very vocal, but I'm not so sure that did anything. I think it's just the government trying to score some points with families, but they're going to open a can of worms, because, like you said, how can you tell the movie theaters, yes, you're allowed to sell food, and the other guy who's been screwed this entire year, and by the way, they've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars to get everything in place back in the day so they could abide by the measures, and they've been it lasted a month, maybe a month and a half last year. They did everything in their power, you know what I mean, to remove tables, put up whatever, the plexiglass, change things up, and it lasted a month, and then they closed them down.
I see it differently, man. I see it is they had to come out and say something, right? It's that point in time where enough of a period of time, like a stint of time, has passed. It's like, okay, now we need to update the people. We need to say something, and they didn't have anything to say, so they just came up with certain things that kind of don't make sense, or make sense for some people. But I think they're taking it's improv. They're taking it like it's almost like there's no agenda, but we need to say something. That's how I feel this is, because it never makes sense. It's almost a trial and error.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And it's almost like the saying is, the expression, it's like the wise person has something to say, right? And then the fool has to say something. And I have to say something. And nothing is thought of. Nothing is really into detail. Anyways, that's what I'm saying. A bunch of malarkey. It's always like, okay, now they're going to be like, okay, we said something now. Let's think of maybe the next month. And it's going to go to the next month. And then that's what I'm saying. It's like, that's what I mean by don't poke the bear.
But there comes a point though, Chris, that you know what, you're gonna lose the crowd, right? So now it's like,
and you know what, Pano? Because
what do you mean you're not?
What do you mean you can lose the crowd?
Like I mean, like there's people now that are just fed up, dude. It's like enough's enough.
But Pano, you look at the polls that came out last week. The guy is like nearly 50%. He has nearly 50% support. Like if he were to call an election tomorrow, according to these polls, 50%, like 1 out of 2 people is going to vote for CAC. Like how much sense does that make? Like I never was one to look at polls. I mean, at least when I was working in politics and in our specific area, the polls were never representative.
But this is not about politics. This is not about who you're going to vote for.
That's what he's saying. Because if at some point you're going to lose the people's support.
No, I'm not talking about supporting and going out and winning that people's vote. Like you're losing people's confidence, not in believing in all this. You understand what I mean? Like this thing is not. It's. I have a feeling that listen, this virus is real, dude. It kills people. We get it. I get it, right? Mm-hmm. But now it's just like dude, the damage that is done, and especially like in the business world, right? Like, dude, it's tough, man. Like,
well, that's what it is. It's what it is. It's not about not believing in the virus or not believing in the virus. Some people don't believe in the virus, which is a position to take. Some people believe in the virus. Then you have vaxxers and anti-vaxxers, and you have all that. Obviously, everything is divided. But the point is not that. The point is that if there's a solution, it's easy. It's apparent. You come up with it, and then you resolve the issues. Right now, it's very, very clear that there's no solution. No one knows. So everything is an experiment. So you cannot say for sure what the solution is or what's going to happen in the future, right? So in a way, it's like, it's what would you rather have? Would you have somebody tell you the truth? Look, we don't know what we're doing. And you know what? It's up to you to think about it, which could cause chaos, could cause anarchy or whatever it causes. No, or would you prefer, or you can have somebody tell you a bunch of stuff that can kind of keep you in order, but it's not necessarily the truth.
You don't want
and that.
Yeah, you don't want that, Chris. But at the same time, don't forget that this is new for everyone, for every single.
No, I'm not saying either one or. I'm just saying we're in a situation where it's very clear and most people understand that they don't know what they're doing, and it's fine.
I know, but
that's why I don't blame politicians. Like I'm never going to say this, whether I'm for them politically or not. I'm never going to say because of this politician many people died, and I'm not going to say this politician treated it, he's the hero, because it's beyond that. It's way more factors than somebody that's at the helm, right?
Look, I think it's an interesting point, because you have the politician that wants to show the leadership, and he wants to show that I'm in control of this, even though we know that nobody knows what they're doing, because it's, you know, you've never lived through a crisis like this one in order to be able to repeat the successes or to avoid the failures of the previous time. But you also have the politicians that are like, listen, we agree that we're not the experts, we don't know anything, and we're going to listen to what the health sector is telling us. Like, look at New Zealand. That's what New Zealand did. Zero cases. A couple of days ago, they had 3 cases. Everything shut down again. The minute we have even 1 case, everything shuts down until we're back to 0, and then we'll go back to, and then we're going to go back to, like, regular business as usual kind of thing. So they are respecting to the T whatever the health experts are saying. Now, if the health experts are wrong, then they're wrong. But I mean, it seems to have worked out for them, and they took like really extreme measures. They're like, nobody's going out. We're talking about curfews. We're talking about everything that we're doing now a whole year later. New Zealand did it within the first couple months, and they maintained it. They contained it. Of course, it helps the fact that they're an island lost in the Pacific. So yes, it's easier.
And they're not a hub. They're not a hub.
Exactly. I mean, here we're talking about one of the largest continents that's connected with the U.S. Like, it's in the middle.
Yeah.
So I get it. So maybe there were some factors that played in favor, but still, I mean, they took quick action at the very beginning, and they were able to maintain it. So I think, I don't know. What do you want? Do you want a politician? Do you want to be in a country where you have a politician that look and to say, like, look at the leadership? Yeah, this guy knows what he's doing, or this girl knows what she's doing. Or do you want someone, like you said, to come out honestly and say, guys, this is an issue. We've never lived through this before. The only way forward is to listen to what the experts tell us, and we have to apply it to the T. And that's it.
Hey, look, I'm just making conversation. I don't think one is better than the other. I'm just saying we're at the point now where we're recognizing this stuff, and it's pretty apparent. You know what I mean? And if you're like one of those blind believers, and it's like whatever the government says, well, you know what? It's like, you got to take it with a grain of salt as well.
Yeah.
And especially when you mentioned like scientists, right? Their scientists are on both ways. Like, I mean, on both sides. There's scientists on both sides. Scientists disagree with each other. Now you can say, what does the majority of the scientists say? And now you're in a democracy. It's fine, right? But the thing is, when you don't want draconian measures when you're not sure what you're doing. People will accept draconian measures when you know what you're doing. But when you're not sure and you show a little bit of, a little bit of doubt, right?
But that's my point.
You know what I mean? Exactly. People's trust in you goes down, and now it's like you cannot reinforce things you're not sure of. It's a tough concept to get, but at the same time, it's like, think about it. It's like a parent thinking the kid did something, not being sure, but really punishes him.
Yeah, and you know what, George? Going back to that whole, going back to the vote, I don't think his vote is with the, he's never going to side with the restaurant owner. That's not where his vote is. I don't think that's where his vote is. You know what I mean? So if his vote was there, I believe he'd probably be a little more sympathetic. That's what I believe. But I don't think his vote is there. So for him, it's like, whatever.
Yeah, but it's also, you're right. But it's also a myopic attitude to base your vote, whether you're going to vote for him next term based on how he acted during a pandemic.
Yeah.
It's not fair. You know what I mean? Whether you like him or hate him, you can like the politics of CAC or you can hate the politics of CAC, but solely basing your vote on how somebody handles a pandemic, which is unprecedented, which no one knows really how to handle, is a weak argument.
It is.
I agree. I agree.
Which is why I think that he's still very high in the polls, because traditionally, if there's a crisis that doesn't come from the political field, like if there's like in this case, there's like this uncontrollable crisis.
Exactly. Yeah.
It usually favors the political leaders because they step up and people look at them, look towards them or to them for solutions. And we've seen it countless times, right? We've seen it in September 11 when George Bush was like really free falling in terms of his support, and then suddenly, they attack the Twin Towers, and he's seen as the U.S. hero. Let's go after these bad guys, And we've seen, look at Trudeau. I mean, we can't really say that he's managing this crisis.
Bro,
well.
now you're poking giants.
I know that Panos is a big fan, but
am I the only one that's not a fan?
No, I'm not a fan.
What I'm saying is that the vaccine rollout, for a G7 country, is it even acceptable? Of course not. And yet he still scores very high. Legault, over half of the deaths across Canada are in Quebec. He's still very high. Could things have gone differently? Of course, things could have gone differently, and that's going to be their argument. We're doing our best, blah blah blah. So they're being sympathetic to that argument, but at the same time, it's like, dude, you're screwing up, man. We're screwing up.
He's not screwing up. And this is not to defend him. They just don't know how to solve.
Well, look,
think about it. You have an issue. You have an issue, right? And you don't know how to solve it. Nobody has the formula to solve it, right? You do not know how to get organized to solve it. You don't know what the steps are to solve it. You have no procedure, right? You have an advisory board, let's say. You have certain ideas. You have certain theories. You have certain hypotheses. And then you're not solving the problem. Nobody can tell you're screwing up.
Well, because look, in his case, let's be honest, there's a lot of stuff that aren't in his control. If Quebec would have been able on its own to go and negotiate vaccines, maybe it would have been different. But we're all relying on the federal government, and they completely messed it up. So we're there. Our hands are up in the air. We're like, look, we have a strategy for the vaccine rollout, but we're missing a key element, which is the vaccine.
Yeah, but the vaccine, that's what I'm saying. That's at the federal level.
Yeah, exactly. That's
what I'm saying. I'm defending him.
Yeah.
And I will defend anybody. It's just that's why the president, prime minister, whatever, any leader that gets through this pandemic with good results or bad results cannot be blamed for the bad results and should not be
hailed for the good results.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's that simple.
Well, no. Well, the good results, it means that you probably did something right, that you put in place a strategy that worked. So yes, to a certain extent, you got to
it could be coincidental. It could be lucky. It could be other parameters. It could be a lot of things.
I don't know.
It could be a lot of things.
I don't know how this could be lucky, guys. You need to make the right decisions in order to avoid a crisis. And again, there's countries that are doing it, and that.
No, but think about it. There's countries that are. Yeah. Okay. Look. Let's say we put it on the spectrum of freedom and security, right? Right. The more secure you are, the less freedom you have. The more free you are, the less secure you are. So the people that made the decisions to let you be free and not infringe on your rights, right, or your freedoms, those are the people that you're probably more exposed to getting affected, right? And then there's the other thought that says, I really want to secure you to protect you, but I'll take away all the freedoms. Mm-hmm. So that's a matter of preference. You can't get it right, because if somebody values his freedom over not getting the infection or the virus, he'd rather have his freedom and take the risk. I'm not saying that's a good mentality. I'm just saying that exists. Well, and then the person, and then there's many countries like Japan too, right? So, and then there's the other side that says, you know what? I don't care about my freedom. I don't care about other people's freedoms. I want to be the most secure possible, and I need to be protected. And that's where that could get a little crazy, because now you're taking very strict measures. And a lot of people have the thinking of my freedom doesn't end where your fear begins. So just because you, George, I'm not saying you, George, right? I'm talking in general. Just because you're a little bit scared doesn't mean that I don't have freedoms.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's the debate. So yeah, it is politicized, but at the same time, what is the solution when you have such a big spectrum?
Yeah.
Zero security or zero freedom? And then
why don't you go in the middle?
Because the middle is no curfews, get vaccinated if you want, social distancing, and leave it up to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then what do you have? You have the extreme guy saying, no, that's too, I don't want these measures. And then you have the person who's really, really scared that says, hey, what about him?
But you're still there's still gonna be minorities. Like, I mean, they're gonna be polar minorities, right? So
and that's what happens. The most vocal people in this pandemic, it's not the center. I'm not talking about the political center. I'm talking about the people that are like right in the middle.
Yeah.
They're not very vocal, these people. They're doing what they're told. You know, they're trying, they're being respectful of other people. They're wearing their masks, but what happens is you have the people that are very, very, very scared, that are very, very vocal, and they're paranoid, and they're anxious people. And then you have the people that are on the other side that aren't afraid of anything. They're willing to take the risk, and then think everybody else is a sheep. So those are the two vocal people, and those are the people that kind of ruined the crisis. These are the people
But my point, Chris, is that if you take the secure route, right, versus and you give up freedom, you're still going to have vocal people.
You do, but one way to do it, and one way would be, well, this is, I don't know, I heard it somewhere. I forget. You know, I hate not giving credit where it's due, but they said, why don't you isolate just the people that are at high risk? So you take away their freedoms because they're high risk, right? They're high risk, right? People with lung issues, I don't know, breathing issues, right? That are over 55, let's say, or 60. I don't know what the number is going to be. And I don't even know how to decide for that number. But those people that are more susceptible to getting the virus, right? Well, you isolate that. So they're not allowed to go out.
But that was the idea.
But then the rest...
Yeah, that was the idea here, Chris. But the problem was that they didn't have the right resources to make sure that the seniors, the long-term care facilities were secure. So they thought we need to protect our elderly. Meanwhile, they're forgetting that you have, one person working in a long-term care facility that has like a route of 5 other ones to do. So that's how they.
No, I get it. I'm not saying that would be the solution. I'm just saying that.
So the idea was right. The strategy was wrong. I think personally,
but it also exposed our health system, right? All this exposed our health system, and this is the elephant in the room that people don't want to talk about, right?
Yeah. But look, see, I think it would have been much easier at the very beginning, where everyone was eyes open and ears open. What do we do? Tell us and we'll do it. Like that first batch of 3-4 months where everyone was super respectful and everyone was super supportive. Remember the rainbows, windows, and everyone was like, there was this huge wave of solidarity where you were preparing baskets to bring to your neighbors and blah, blah, blah. Like that window was the perfect window to do exactly what, for example, New Zealand did, and say, look.
That I totally agree with you, George, because that's my point. My point is, as time goes by now, you're losing that. You understand what I mean?
Because so people are you've lost credibility, right. And now you're coming back with another idea, and people are like, okay, is this going to work? I mean, we're stuck here. It's been a year now, and we're listening to what you're saying, and it doesn't seem to be working, buddy. You know, 100%. Like over 10.
Like go to stores. Like I'm in and out of stores, guys, right? With the business that I do, and I actually own 2 of them. Like we're very, very strict in our store. Like you if you come in, there's a person that's going to greet you. They're going to clean the cart. They're going to ask you to wash your hands. You have to have a mask. And there's actually a person there counting how many people go in, how many people go out.
Right.
Have you been to malls lately? Have you been to Costco? Nobody's counting how many people go in and out.
Yeah. No.
Go to Walmart. Nobody's counting.
No.
There's a maximum of people that need to be in that establishment. Nobody's counting anymore. So that's what I'm saying.
We were at Walmart last weekend. They do have the person cleaning the carts, but there was nobody counting. There's no
counting.
Yeah.
So that's my point. My point is that the longer this goes, less people are going to social distance. People are not going to be wearing their mask properly. You know what I mean? Like,
because don't forget, we're getting also we're getting sensitized to this reality, right? "Quote unquote" reality. It's like, okay, now it's normal. We got to wear the mask, and like it's not seen as urgent as it was in the beginning, where you took like 5 minutes to prepare yourself. So I put my mask on. Is it good? Let me make sure I got my thing. Okay, I gotta go. I gotta wash my hands. Make sure I keep my distance. Like you were aware of your surroundings at all times. And the more that the time is passing, the more you're desensitized to this whole thing.
That's right. That's right.
And you're skipping steps.
Yeah.
You're skipping steps. Yeah. No, but that's normal. That's the natural tendency of the human being to resort to what is comfortable.
And that's also, scariest. That's also for me the scariest thing, because when you're, like Chris said, when you're implementing changes that are affecting your individual rights and freedoms, like a curfew, and if we stop you, you get fined or whatever. What do you mean stop me, man? What do you mean I can't be outside? What do you mean I cannot take the dog, you can go walk it, but why can I not walk in the park at night? Because it makes me feel good, and it's good for my psychology or whatever. Like what? So that's where people start losing their patience too. And
that's it.
But what I'm worried about is, are we going to end up at a point where the same way that we've gotten desensitized to everything else, and we're skipping steps, and we're forgetful about the masks, or if we're wearing the mask, we don't even notice it anymore because it's such a normal thing? Are we going to get to that point where it's normal for us to have to rush home at 7:30 because we can't be out at 8? You understand what I'm saying? Like that's the area where I do not want to go, because the minute you cross into that area where it's normal for the government to be dictating things that are removing your individual rights and freedoms, then it's really questionable.
Yeah. Well said. And that's where I stand too. When it comes to curfews and stuff like that, like if you're going to put a curfew, man, you better be 1,000% sure. It's like, know exactly what you're doing, and we're all in this together. Right? Exactly. We're all in this together. And it's like, you know what, we'll do it. And you know what, if there was trust and people actually thought that the politicians or the experts knew what they were saying and knew what they were doing, everybody would come together and say, look, man, we'll get through this. This is what we have to do. You know what you need to do if you need to make things right. But when you don't trust your leader, or there's some kind of insincerity or the doubt, right? Now you're just like, ooh, that's where it gets a little crazy. You're right. I agree with you, man. And once you've taken that measure, now what's the next one? What are you going to say? 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock is too long. Let's try 6. 5. What's the magic number? 5?
What bothers is that, first of all, there's no science to back it up, and the other questionable thing is that ever since the curfew came into place, we saw the numbers go down, but at the same time, let's not forget that nothing was open. Like everything is closed. So nobody could go to work. The offices were closed. Everybody's forced to work from home. Like just essential services were open. So what if that was the cause of the decrease of the cases and not the curfew? Like, we don't know, right? So now that slowly we're starting to reopen certain regions, and where some of them are going from red to orange, I think this is gonna show us a lot. It's gonna give
true colors.
Yeah, it's going to give us a lot of information on whether or not it was really the curfew that brought those numbers down, or the fact that nothing was open. So now that, everything was closed. So now that we're opening them, let's see, does the curfew really do anything?
Yeah, we'll see. Look, even at that, it's very hard to say for sure.
I think, look, I think realizing that the main issue, because look, in the beginning, the main issue was the senior population, right? And we know that, and it was a huge catastrophe, I think, for Quebec in general. But now the problem is in the teenage age group, where they leave home, they hang out at the park, or they sneak into your kids into your house, and they're in the basement. And there's some parents that are much more lenient than others, like, okay, let them hang out or whatever. This is where the problem is. A lot of the cases now are happening in schools. I don't know why the schools have remained open. In my opinion, they should have been a lot more strict on that. But knowing that is pretty much the main cause right now, the curfew maybe makes sense, because if you know that you got to be home by 8, it means that if I catch you walking down the street from your friend's house back home, you're in trouble. So I think they're limiting that, those little house parties and the house gatherings. So maybe that will help. But I don't know. I don't know how that's going to have a general impact.
What's your prediction, guys? How long? How much more of this?
Oh, I think we're stuck in this at least until the end of the year. There's nothing based on what I'm saying, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm proved wrong completely. But based on what I'm seeing, I do not trust for a second that we're going to have all the vaccines available by end of September, like the federal government says. And I want people to mark this in their calendars, because so far from what we know and from what we're being promised is that by end of September, everyone who will have wanted to be vaccinated will be able to be vaccinated by the end of September. So technically, it means that as we approach maybe the summertime, the greater percentage of the population should have already received their vaccine. So I have a difficulty believing that.
So George, here's a question for you, George. Will you take that vaccine?
No, I'm not going to take that. I'm very pro science. I trust science a lot. I'm not, like my parents here have a natural remedy, some mountain tea with some honey.
Windex.
My father's favorite alcohol, But I support, and I completely agree with science. This vaccine, however, is a different one. It's not like your regular vaccine. The fact that it came out within less than a year, when normally all experts were saying there is no possibility for a vaccine to be had within the first 3 years, because normally that's what it takes. The fact that we have it, and we had someone on another episode that seems to understand. He used to work in the pharmaceutical industry, and there's something, it's not strange about this vaccine. It's just that it affects your genetic code. It's not, we're not inserting the actual what do you call it, the actual virus inside you. And
George, I think you're having a Trump moment.
No, but that's what Trump moment? No,
George, you just killed it right there. You just killed it.
Look, I'm not an expert, but usually vaccines, they put in the actual virus inside you, and your body builds the antibodies to fight it. This is not how this vaccine works. So I mean, I don't know the technicalities, but from the little I've read, it affects your genetic code. Like, I mean, that's why you need 2 doses in order to, because the first one isn't strong enough. So my mentality is that, look, in any case, we're really far down the line in order of us getting the vaccine. So okay, the seniors and all that stuff, like, I'll probably tell my parents, if their turn comes up, to go get it, because they're vulnerable, they're in that demographic.
Sure, use your parents as guinea pigs. Awesome.
Use my parents as guinea pigs. By the time our turn comes down, it is very possible that we will have beat the epidemic, right? Or we will have, I don't know. It's just a thought out of my top of my head. So I'm willing to wait it out. I mean,
Chris.
Chris, on what?
Where the vaccine?
My prediction? Oh, the vaccine. I don't know. I'm a bit like. Let me start with the prediction. I think the prediction, no one knows. I think I've heard a couple of people that are in the field that are saying that things don't look good, and even if there is some kind of relief, there's worse coronaviruses to come. Yeah. Right. So this is kind of the beginning. Yeah, exactly. So then the idea with a vaccine is, I agree with George. Yeah. Do I want to take it? I don't think I would take it. I'm not sure yet. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I think vaccines have helped a lot humanity for certain things. This might be a different case, maybe an exception, but I'm not sure yet. So I'm not saying yes or no. But at the same time, it's like a lot of people are really, really hopeful and putting like a lot of trust in this vaccine. But we're forgetting that the flu has a vaccine. There's a vaccine for flu, and there's hundred thousands of people that die every year from the flu as well. Mm-hmm. So the vaccine is one of those solutions. Let's say the solution has 5 check marks, right? Social distancing, mask, vaccine is in there to make the numbers drop, but I don't think it's the panacea. This is not what's going to solve everything. It's not going to solve every issue we have.
Mm-hmm.
So, and again, this is me speaking. I'm not an expert either. I do follow experts. I see a lot of contradicting advice, right? A lot of different, again, the science is a little bit split here. There's not one consensus. There's not one voice on this yet, which is good because you need difference of opinion, but that's where I stand. So I don't know if I would take it, and I don't know if we're done.
What about you, Pano?
I'm right with you guys. I feel the same way. I definitely believe in vaccines. I think vaccines, like Chris said, have done good for humanity. Just this one, you guys are right. I'm with you. I don't know. I have mixed feelings with it. I don't know. But look, at the end of the day, what about if you turn around and say, guys, look, you can't board an airplane if you don't have a vaccine. What do you do?
See, now we're going back to the freedoms.
Greece has said that. Greece said that because they rely so heavily on the tourism industry. They want people to go, but at the same time, they're like, listen, they've been doing relatively well, actually, I think, Greece.
But that's fine, because as long as you're okay to quarantine for the 14 days after, that's kind of fine. So that's kind of imposing a vaccine without really imposing it. Where I would have a problem would be if they're imposing it, meaning that it's a law. Like everyone needs to get vaccinated. No, I oppose that. No, that's when I oppose it.
What happened? Because I'm following what's happening in Greece, and they said if you need to travel, you need to have done the test. So there has to be some sort of evidence that you need to provide in order to show that I've done the vaccine. Sorry.
Yeah, but that's fine. There's no problem. But I mean, if they said, look, you have to be vaccinated in order to come into our country,
that's a lot worse.
Yeah,
but that's saying that without really saying it. You're kind of saying that, but you're not really saying it directly. It's not an explicit demand, right? That's the difference. But yeah, I even find that a little bit of a drastic measure.
Well, I think it's going to come to that, and for countries like that depend so heavily on that sector, on that industry. They want the people, but they don't want to put themselves in trouble again. Don't forget, in the last year,
as long as you still give choices, George, that's what it is. Because if you demand a vaccine to travel, the choice is like, you know what, you don't have to travel. So I decide not to travel, so I don't have to take the vaccine. Yeah. Where I'm afraid, and I know it's not Greece's case, but I'm saying in the future, like what I worry about is that if a country demands it from its population, from its citizens, yes, you must be vaccinated.
Yeah, well,
with a tag, with a number, and
exactly. That's when it came out, where you would have kind of like a vaccination passport or something like that, like a passport where you have to kind of, show that look, you need that to travel, kind of thing. We'll see, eh?
It's not easy.
On the corner. Look, I think just with respect to Greece, they were very unique in figuring it out. And they created those tourism corridors last year, where they had an agreement with countries that send, a huge percentage of tourists to Greece, like Australia, Canada, the US. They had some with some European nations where they had created like these agreements. I think they called them tourism corridors. And basically it meant that if your people want to travel to my country, they need to take a test before they leave. And once they come here, we will take care of them and make sure they're tested over here as well. And before they come back to your country, we will make sure that they're tested here before they board the plane. So they had this kind of mutual agreement, and it worked. It worked out pretty well. Like everybody thought that after summertime, Greece was going to explode, and it didn't. It wasn't the case. So they were able to maintain it that way. So I'm
no, but that's fine, because that's the test.
I don't have a problem with that.
That's to make sure that you don't have the virus.
That's right.
Making sure or proving that you've got vaccinated is another thing.
Yeah.
No, but that's what he said before. Before, what George said was making sure that when people come into the country, it was just testing. It's not proving that was
exactly. That's different, because it's like, look, you're safe, right? You got tested. You don't have the virus. You're low risk. Come in. Yeah. But hey, you don't come in unless you're vaccinated. I'm saying it just goes. The problem goes to another level. That's it. That's all I'm saying.
I agree. So, guys, what is today's topic? Was that the introduction to the topic? Like,
we didn't have in mind to talk about this, but we did, and I don't want it to drag too long, because you guys are All right, you need to go to bed, so we're gonna skip that topic, but it's an interesting one. We want
for next time, man. For next time.
Yeah, we wanted to talk about our wives and how they have a problem understanding the concept of time and distance. So yeah, we don't have time to get onto this today, so we're gonna push that back. So keep an eye out for that one. I think I don't know about you guys. I'm definitely in that boat. Like my wife has no idea about time, how long she needs to get ready, where she has to drive, how long it takes. Like it just doesn't compute. I think I didn't want to change the topic. We were off, so I felt that it was gonna be a little awkward if we switched it. But yeah, this is gonna be definitely an episode that we're gonna carry on to some other time, probably this month or the next for sure. And maybe we can bring Pano back. Yeah,
we got to bring him back now, man. He's part
always,
of it.
Always a pleasure.
This was supposed to be your topic, and we dipped into the COVID, but it's okay. Anything else? Any final closing remarks? Again, this is your cue, guys.
We're good.
We're good. We're
Time
good
to go to bed.
Great. We ended the exact same way we started.
There you go, man. We're consistent.
Perfect.
All right,
We're
guys.
consistent.
Thank you so much for joining us. And once again, subscribe, like, comment, share, do all that beautiful stuff. Support the channel, support the podcast. We do appreciate it. Thank you once again, and we'll see you all on the next episode. Ciao.
Ciao.